Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we have NXT. As you get closer and closer, we are now at the end of 2024, but we're also close to New Year's Evil. A lot of things could happen until then, but however, in this particular time, we do have the NXT tag team titles. Axiom and Nathan Frazier defend the belts against Gallus, and of course, Trick Williams takes on Eddie Thorpe, defending the NXT Championship. So a lot of things could happen before then. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, Sendai Girls' much recent event at Aore Nagaoke. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. If not, there we go. This event took place this past Sunday, and of course, it features many matches. Not to mention, we continue with more of Meiko Satomura's road to retirement. She teams up with Takumi Iroha to take on Red Energy, Mika Iwata, and Miyuki Takase. So that's going to be a fun match to enjoy. And then we move on for a while. It's been a long time since I reviewed Dragon Gate, so we're going to be reviewing their much recent event that took place this past Monday, the Final Gate, featuring, of course, most of all the championships on the line. All of them. We're talking about the Open, the Triangle Gate, the Twin Gate, the Brave Gate, and the Open Weight. So doing we're going to be doing everything. So this is the first time in a while I do a Dragon Gate, and I'm so excited. And then, of course, we will cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. A little bird's telling me to say it's time to rock and roll. So, let's begin with our first review, and this is from the Joshi promotion, Sendai Girls. Alrighty then. So, let's begin with Sendai Girls and Aore Nagaoke. Hopefully I pronounced it right. If not, like I said before, there you go. So, this event took place this past Sunday. Features many matches. So, let's start from the very beginning and work our way to the end. Our first match, we have Yuta Suzuki taking on Marla's very own Maria. So, we have seen other promotional wrestlers, make appearances, and of course, Marvelous is no exception. Of course, I wasn't too sure how this is going to be, but Yuta Suzuki, she's not a full blown Sendai girl. She comes from another promotion. But Maria, we know she is determined to try to prove herself now as a singles competitor, and I think she did a pretty good job. She did apply a pretty interesting submission move that allowed her to pick up the win. So hopefully down the line she can get a singles win. So we'll see what happens. Our next match, we have tag team action. We have Nightshade. She teams up with Lady Destroyer, Hiyoto Matsumoto, to take on Team 200 Kilogram. We're talking about you and Shihiro Hashimoto, Big Hash herself. So basically, you can tell that this is the battle of powerhouse, power slams, behemoths, however you want to display it. But of course, there has to be a winner because it's going to be tough to take two people down. But in the end, it was you who, in fact, picked up the win when she applied the Supergirl on Nightshade. I cannot recall if you ever done that, but it kind of looked a little messed up if you look at it, on when you watch it. But nonetheless, it was a win. So Team 200 kilograms walk away with the W. Our next match, we had a very interesting three-way match. We have Ryo Mizunami taking on, of course, not in a handicap match, but more of a three-way. The ladies are current tag champions. We're talking about Yurika Oka and Miyu Momono, better known as Baba Momo Banana. So, yes, you probably ask yourself, okay, you got the tag team champions from both Sendai and Marvelous. They're in this match. And of course, the advantage, they'll team up, but eventually they'll turn on each other to pick up the W, which is very common in these type of three-way matches. But unfortunately, I don't think that kind of advantage worked because it was Ryu Mizunami who walked away with the win with a very, very strong lariat on Oka. And just like that, adios, she picks up the W. Now, our next match, we have Manami taking on Dash Shizako. So I'm sure Dash Shizako is still a little frustrated after losing the world title to Meiko Satomura. And I wouldn't be surprised if, of course, she tries to hurt Manami outside the ring, which is her comfort zone. But that's exactly probably she would have done the entire time of the match. But unfortunately, of course, Dash decided to put her away after first she couldn't do it with double foot stomp, and then applied the frog splash, which allowed her to pick up the win. So, just like that, it was completely over. Now for our main event, we have, of course, Red Energy, consisting of Miyuki Takase and Mika Iwata, taking on Takumi Iroha and Meiko Satomura. Now remember, this match is part of Meiko Satomura's road to retirement that will happen in April of 2025. So we're almost there, folks. So we're just enjoying the last matches she will have. But the real question is, how will this go on and go on? Now, Red Energy has been a very strong, successful tag team. As for Takumi Iroha and Meiko Satomura, well, they have faced off before on each other, but the obvious thing is, can they pull it off? Well, they did actually, because it was Meiko Satomura that put away Miyuki with the Scorpion Rising, and just like that, it was over. Of course. And then, of course, Meiko Satomura does her little promo, which I have no idea what she said, but I'm sure she is grateful that she's giving her last remaining months that she has left in the pro wrestling world so the fans can enjoy her before she retired. But we'll see what happens down the road. But I do know we do have upcoming events from them real soon. But we'll see what happens. But for now, we are done with Sendai Girls. Let's move on with Dragon Gate. Okay, Dragon Gate. Man, it's been a minute since I actually done this. I cannot remember the last time I actually reviewed Dragon Gate. So I apologize for any of my subscribers who are Dragon Gate fanatics. I mean, I have seen some that I was able to see, but I was unable to review due to the timing. So I apologize in the bottom of my heart for all of those who probably were looking forward to Dragon Gate. But I decided, what the hell, let's do this one. So, as you know, I mentioned this. We are close to the end of the year, and it's appropriate for this name of the show, The Final Gate. Because it is the Final Gate. I mean, they're still going to continue doing more shows, but yes. So this is one of their last big matches of the year, I believe. But we do have, of course, their all their championships on the line. So we'll get to all of that starting from the very beginning. So let's do that right now. Our first match, we have a six-man tag team match. We have the members of D Courage, consisting of Royaka Tanaka, Madoka Kakuda, and then, of course, not a member of the group, we have Luis Mante. They take on the remaining members of Gold Class, um, Mochizuki Jr., Rita, and Ben K. Now, if you guys probably ask yourself what I meant by the remaining members, were they the only three left? Everybody else either left, betrayed, or they were expelled due to some circumstances, all in the hands of Z-Brats. So that's mainly the real reason. However, the match, well, I wasn't too invested on it because I wasn't too sure anything was going to happen. But I can tell you that this match ended with Ben K applying a spear on Tanaka, and just like that, it was over. So I don't know if Gold Class will survive with just three members, but we will see what happens down the road. Our next match, we have a very interesting tag team match. We have Daiki Yanaguchi. He teams up with Jackie Kame. They take on the Natural Vibes, consisting of UT and Strong Machine J. Nothing too significant of this one, but we do know that Jackie used to be a member of Natural Vibes. I don't know what happened. Either he quit due to some circumstances. I don't know, but nonetheless, the match was in fact very interesting. All thanks to UT, who in fact finished off. Well, it was Jay who finished off Daiki when he applied a what they called the gold shift. It's kind of like a suplex turned into a power bomb turned into a power slam or a jackknife or whatever. No, a jackhammer type. I don't know. It was a very interesting combination, but very impressive. Our next match, we have an 8-man tag match. We have Punch Tominaga, Monde Ru, Don Fuji, and Masaaki Mochizuki. They take on Genki Origuchi, Sasashi Kondo, Toru Owashi, and of course the father of Dragon Gate, Ultimo Dragon. Yes, folks, the same Ultimo Dragon. So this is basically what originally it's not called Dragon Gate when it first started. It was called Torimon, but it is. He's like the father of Dragon Gate. So that kind of sets it up. But the real question is, how will this go? I mean, Punch him out. He's a bit of a hothead, if you guys notice, at certain times. But it was, of course, his own arrogance that cost him the match when it was Ultimo Dragon with the Magistral that put him away. And just like that, it was over. I don't know what Punch Nominaga is. He's a bit of a hothead, but yes. Now, our next match is a singles match. We have Hayo. He takes on Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan, better known as Ikemen Jiro. Now, you probably know I talk about him. He's a very unique wrestler. But what he does every single time when his music's playing, he sings and dances and, interacts with the fans during his entrance. What do you think Hyan was doing? I'll tell you what he was doing. He knows that he was going to take his little fun. So what he was doing the entire time, he was doing some push-ups, sit-ups, try to stretch. Like, okay, take your time while I do this. While I'm stretching, you do that, Kuroshio. Just like that. I have to say, Hyan is like, he's in no rush. But, however, you can say that he may had a plan, but that plan was to take off the jacket. Now, it's kind of like you think that he's naked, but with that, it's kind of like, oh, you do not take off this man's jacket, so you don't know what he'll do afterwards. But luckily, when Hyan applied a senton on him, somehow, Ikemen actually reversed it on him. So, a very impressive win coming from his part. So, yeah. Now, our next match is for the new crowning of the Open the Triangle Gate Championship. These titles were vacant. Now, those who don't know what this one is, the Triangle Gate are the trios belts. So that's why they call it the Open the Triangle. Basically, The titles are like in the triangle. Don't remember who was the last champions, but the obvious question: who's going to walk out? We have team number one, a brand new faction I did not know about, called Paradox, consisting of Kagetora, Tsuzumi Yokosuka, and BB Hulk. So it's interesting. I know that Kagetora and BB Hulk used to be in in a in a unit back then called the Tribal Vanguard. But as for their opponents, they're facing Z-Brats, Ishin, Kai, and Yoshiki Kato. So basically, the Z-Brats are the dirtiest players. They are the heel of the group. So of course they would do whatever it takes to pick up the win. I mean, it was, how do I say? So how is this going to play out? Where it was Kagetora who picked up the win when he applied his move called the Kakure onto Ishin, and just like that, brand new um, Triangle Gate champion. So pretty good. I have to say I'm interested in Paradox, so we'll see how that goes. Now our next match, this is one of the matches not involved in championship match. It's a tag team match. We have the Z-Brats taking consisting of Homare and Shun Skywalker. They take on the current GHC heavyweight tag team champions all the way from Pro Wrestling Noah. We got, of course, Takeshi Sugiura and Naomichi Marifuji. Excuse me. So anyway, of course, Shun Skywalker, he's a bit maniacal. He would do whatever it takes to prove his points that he is dominant, that no one can escape him. But however, in this angle, it was in fact Sugiura who picked up the win when he applied the angle sign on Homare, and just like that, adios, Z-Brats. Now, our next match, we have the Open the Twin Gate Championship. Yes, folks, this is the tag team belts, just to making sure. The Twin Gates, of course, is the tag belts. So the challengers, we have the Z-Brats, consisting of Jason Lee and Kota Minora. They face against Natural Vibes, consisting of Flamita and KZ. I did not know that Flamita returned to Dragon Gate. I mean, I know in the past he has been part of he did tours with Dragon Gate long time ago, but I'm happy that he actually returned. If you probably asked me who actually he was involved with, he was with the group known as Tribal Vanguard, but that unit disbanded a long time ago. But of course, in this particular match, when it comes to Z-Brats, they would do whatever it takes to win their matches, to get what they want. I mean, the other members of Z-Brats were involved too. But unfortunately, there was a moment where, of course, it was Kate Minora who actually applied the Golden Rose onto Flamita, and just like that, win the tag belts. So, I mean, it's a very disappointing loss how it was, but there's nothing nobody can do about it. Now, this is a very interesting match. It's more like a winner takes all match. The Dream Gate Championship and the Open the Brave Gate Championship. Now, for all of you, probably ask yourselves, what is the difference? Okay, let me explain the difference between the two belts. The Open the Brave Gate Championship originally was supposed to be more of high flying or technical aspects, however you want to put it. But as for the Dream Gate Championship, that's more like the heavyweight championship, or the world title. That's the top championship in Dragon Gate, if you guys miss. So I'm going to say it again. I'm going to repeat that so nobody gets lost. The Brave Gate, it was more like either a high flying cruiserweight type or technical title, and of course, the Dream Gate is the heavyweight or world championship, the top title. So there's that. So this belt came across after Dragon Dia won some sort of match, and he wants to face Yamato, who is in fact the Dream Gate champion, and Dragon Dia the Brave Gate. So basically, you got that. But man, this match was incredible. I mean, Dragon Dia, no doubt in my mind, he's very talented. I mean, he came up strong after losing his mask, all thanks to Shun Skywalker, and now he has to put his belt on the line. But unfortunately, that did not help because Yamato picked up the win, and now he's double champion. And I did not know he's a part of Paradox, united with BBK, but no BB Colt. But it's great that he is like that. So we'll see how that rolls up. Don't know when I'll see another Dragon Gate event, but if I do, I'll make sure I review it for all of you. So for right now, we are done with Dragon Gate. So let's move on with our last and final review, NXT. Okay, final review, NXT. As we get closer and closer to New Year's Evil, anything could happen before then. Now, our first match we have, of course, is a very interesting handicap match. Obafemi, our number one contender for the NXT Championship, he will be facing against the current NXT Tag Team Champions, Axiom and Nathan Frazier. So you probably can guess, oh boy, they're gonna get chopped livered. Well, they kind of did, because it was Axiom who ended up on the wrong side of the pop up power bomb by Obafemi, and just like that, it was over. But that's not the worst part, of course. Axiom and Nathan Frazier later on they have to face against the Gallows Boys. Man, talk about these two guys need to get their priorities straight. But we'll get to that. Now, we did see Sarah interviews Eddie Thorpe. Now, of course, Eddie Thorpe will be facing Trick Williams in, of course. But however, of course, a lot of things have come around. Now, there were some things I did alluded that I did not know. Um, it turns out that Eddie Thorpe faked his own injury. It turns out that he somehow skimmed his way to, of course, to find a way to get himself an opportunity without anybody getting involved for a shot of the NXT title. So he signed the contract to make that happen, but Ava Reigns made it clear that even though they know the truth and he signed the contract, there's nothing they could do to reverse it. So Eddie Thorpe is confident enough himself, thinking that he will walk away scot free, knowing this will be his opportunity to gain what he felt he deserved. So we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have a women's tag team action. We have Soruka and Zaira taking on Jakar Jackson and Lash Legends. Now, these two ladies confronted each other a week ago. So the real question is, how will this is going to end? I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen Lash Legend Jakar Jackson that much, but they were able to pull off a win when Lash Legend pinned Soruka, and just like that, it was over. Now, of course, as you know, Igwe and DuPont have been very, very adamant about recent losses. And of course, Wesley kind of had a little gesture with them, telling them that they're doing a good job and all that. So I don't know exactly, but I think many people are probably presuming whether they team up. Who knows? I mean, we will keep an eye on that. Now, many of you know what happened recently. We did see a bit of an interaction between OTM and the no quarter catch crew. So we did have, of course, Jada Parker and Ren Sinclair facing off each other. But of course, outside the ring, we did see OTM, uh, uh, Lima, Bronco Lima, and Lucian Price take on, of course, the guys from No Quarter Catch Crew. But unfortunately, it didn't do any special favors for Ren Sinclair, because Jada Parker applied the hip attack, and just like that, it was over. Well, as you also know, last week we did see the return of Shotzi, who we haven't seen for quite some time, where she teams up with Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. So it seems like they're forming a new kind of faction, friendship, however you want to call it. But it cannot go unchecked by Fatal Influence after, because they cannot tolerate that this is happening. However, they have to tolerate the fact that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn showed up. So I'm sure that this is not exactly what, of course, Fatal Influence are looking for. They don't like people intruding the what they're trying to do to prove that they are the influence. Well, let's see where that goes down the line. Well, let's see how these guys do, because as you know, our NXT tag team titles were on the line. Gallus finally get their opportunity to get a shot of these belts. We have Wolfgang and Mark Coffey. Now, don't forget, Joe Coffey is there, so he'll make sure that they win. But Nathan Frazier and Axiom, they have to, of course, pull something out of their butts. A rabbit out of the hat or something. I don't know. I mean, of course, they had to keep an eye on Joe Coffey, but luckily for them, they were able to withstand everything. But luckily, Nathan Frazier was able to walk out with the win when he applied, of course, the Phoenix Splash onto Wolfgang, and just like that, they retained the belts. Now, in the backstage, Javon Evans was having a nice conversation with Hank and Tank about everything until he was interrupted by, well, he was pushed aside by, what's his name? Ethan Page. So that kind of sets it up. Now, a very unusual thing happened. Lexus King has been training with Charlie Dempsey, which was very interesting. I don't know exactly what he was trying to do, but it seems like they're getting along. I wouldn't be surprised if Lexus King becomes a member of No Quarter Cash Crew. Who knows? But we'll see. Now, as you know, Ethan Page has been depressed because he's been, after unable to successful to regain the NXT title, so that kind of puts him in that, talks about his daughter bringing home the championship. But John Von Evans tried to reason with them, like, to stop being this little bitch, that sort of thing. But of course, Ethan Page didn't take that kindly, and then he decided to hurt. Well, he kind of did hurt Javon Evans with the chair by messing up his face. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll see a feud between those two. Now, of course, we did see Sarah interviews Trick Williams, and he talks about that he did not like what just happened to Javon Evans, and of course he contempt about Eddie Thorpe. However, he was confronted by Oba Femi, telling him that he hopes that he retains the belt. So that kind of sets it up. Now let's jump into the main event, which is the NXT Championship. Eddie Thorpe versus Trick Williams. This is something that Eddie Thorpe stooped his way to ensure. He does not want to be, what he just tries to gain his opportunity no matter what. But you could say things did not go according to plan for Eddie Thorpe because the referee got knocked out. A second ref showed up, but we did see both men's shoulders were at the bottom, and two refs were there counting it. That's when things went off the hair. Now, this is what happened when what you did not see. Of course, there's been discussion that both shoulders were off, so Ava made the decision that saying from what they saw in the video, both men's shoulders were down. So technically, it was more like a draw or some sort, but Trick Williams retained the belt. But Eddie Thorpe was not happy with the results of how this happened. He even shoved Shawn Michaels, because he did not want to hear it. And then Trick Williams took matter of his own hands, gave him the trick shot, and just like that, it was over. But you can guarantee the Eddie Thorpe is not going to let this go. He feels that everything he's been doing has been unfair, but that's life. But it wouldn't surprise me if he would do whatever it takes to get what he wants. But we'll find out what happens down the road. But as of right now, let's end things here with, of course, with all our reviews and move on to our last and final thing, and that is, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with, of course, with the upcoming events. We do have, of course, GCW first. So let's begin with that. As you know, on the 31st of December for Till Infinity in Ridgeway Park at the Mecca, Joey Janela will face Dr. Redacted. And then, of course, on the 10th of January in Rochester, New York, for the Sorry Palace show, the GCW World title will be defended. The GCW tag team titles will be defended, actually. Violence is Forever defends their belts against Infinity and Beyond. And then the following day in Columbus, Ohio, on the 11th of January in 2025, Thank Me Later, Myron Reed will be in action to take on Zachary Wentz. So it's going to be a Rascal versus Rascal. And then, of course, we've got the People versus GCW on the 19th in New York City. Bobby Flaco will be there, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then finally, live in New York on the 26th of January. In London, we have Sydney Akeem versus Anglin Blanc. So that's going to be interesting. DPW has announced for 2 shows in 1 month. The first one is going to take place on the 17th of January in 2025 at the Mecca at Ridgeway Park, and then the 26th at the Campbell Hall in Pasadena, Texas. Now, Thailand Promotion Setup announced for their upcoming event, the Bangkok Navigation that will take place at the 18th of January. They just announced that Masahiro Takanashi will be present there. He will be appearing. This is the first time since 2012 since he's been in setup, and of course, he's the debut of IWA Thailand. So that's what I've been hearing. West Coast Pro announced for a brand new show taking place on the 22nd of March, called West Coast Beskro at the United Irish Cultural Center. So, anybody from the Bay Area, then you know where it is. Spark Yoshi Peruso of America has announced they're back again. It's been a while. They'll be holding another show on April during WrestleMania week. So I'm excited. But there is related news on the development side regarding that. So we'll get to that right now. Well, we'll get to it in a bit. On the injured side, on the developments here, Xia Brookside has been reported she's been injured. She has to cancel some shows around Christmas, so it's a bummer, but hope she recovers. During a Stardom press conference, Starlight Kid has announced that she has relinquished the SPARK Joshi World Championship, which is part of the SPARK promotion. The reasons behind that is that she wants to focus on the white belt, which she hopes she gains at the 29th of December. So, but it was announced by Spark that they will crown a brand new champion around that time during WrestleMania week. So, we'll stay close to that. And then finally, a very interesting news. Many of you know this promotion called Evolution, which is another Yoshi promotion featuring Chi Chi Zones, and of course, it's run by Suwama and Shuji Chikawa. Well, they just had a press conference. They just announced the renaming of the promotion. Now it's called Pro Wrestling Evolution, and this name will be launched at the start of 2025, which is excellent news coming from them. They have a brand new logo. uh Suwama is now the president of the company, so it's very interesting. So I'm glad because recently he has relinquishes a bigger responsibility that he had in All Japan. So I'm glad that he's taking time to you know, push forward Evolution. But they will make their new name will be making their debut, of course, on the 29th in January in Shinjuku Face. But what the added bonus is this. Now, if you guys remember when Evolution first made their presence known, uh, Shuji Ishikawa and Suwama said that they would like to recruit more girls, expand the roster. Well, they just do that. They just announced a brand new trainee named Chika. She'll be making her debut on that very particular day on the 29th in January of 2025. So I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do. The logo itself is kind of interesting. So I'll see if I can put it that for you by the time I'm done with this part of the well, let's do that right now. So let me show it to you and let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Dynamite. I haven't decided yet if what other reviews I'm going to do, so we'll just stick to AEW Dynamite for now. If there's anything to come up, I'll let you guys know. Uh, let's see how things will progress from here on out and we move forward. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!